My name is Kiana Lowe. I'm from Springfield, Mass. I'm actually a graduate of the High School of Commerce, so shout out to my Red Raiders. So that's actually where I found out that I wanted to be in communications. So I'm just going to take you guys on a little bit of my communications journey. Trust me, we're going to go a lot of places. So I started out in commerce, and one of the teachers there had a great idea to bring everybody to DC. So he took his class, we went to DC, and while we were there, we stopped at the Capitol, we stopped at a few of the radio stations there, and just everywhere we went, there was a common denominator of communications, because everyone needs it, and you don't realize exactly where it is until you're in that position, or you see it, or how it works. Communication goes everywhere from schools, businesses, Congress, the president, the White House secretary, press secretary that you see. She's a publicist that became a PR associate who became the White House secretary. It's basically giving information and telling stories. So after I graduated commerce, I went to college here, of course, and I did everything. And when I say everything, I mean everything. I was an RA, I was a tour guide, I was an assistant in the history department, I was also a events coordinator for the diversity and inclusion department, as well as founded the BSU, as well as in the basketball team. So I did a lot of different things, but everywhere I went, I noticed that there was always a need for getting the story out there, telling them what you do, whether it's a development associate and you're in a nonprofit. How are they supposed to know about your nonprofit? How do they know what the nonprofit is doing? How do they know about the services they provide? How do they know how to give to the nonprofit? That's communications. If you're a PR associate and you want to work in entertainment, how do they know about your client? How do they know about what your client does? How do they know about the services they offer? That's communications. If you want to build you a school, how are they going to know about your school? It's all communication. The theme here is telling a story. That's what communications is. Getting a story across and giving it to them in a way that they understand it. I learned very early on that I don't like talking to people, but I like telling stories. I don't want to hear about your day. But if you give it to me in an interesting way, I might be interested. It's all about the delivery and how you give information. That makes you want to communicate. I don't mind communicating with you if you can tell me a good story, if you can turn anything into a story. So as I was in Westfield State and working and doing basically everything I could find, the communication department offered me an opportunity to go to Washington, D.C. And intern. There, I found that I was able to live there for 6 months, and it was the best time of my life because I was able to immerse myself in the field. And when I tell you I did everything, I did everything. I worked for political leaders. I worked for nonprofit organizations. That's where I first got my start in the entertainment communications. Working for a production company that worked for BET. It was my first intro world to the entertainment industry. And once I started, I was like, oh, I might like it here. So I did that for a little while, and I got back here, but I live in Mass, there wasn't a lot of entertainment industry here. So I had to find out where it was. There's always a need for communications anywhere, so I started in development, which I worked for a nonprofit in Springfield, and they basically helped me hone in my communication skills. I tried to just jump into entertainment, but I realized that this kind of craft, it takes work. It takes being able to tell people stories in a way that I myself even want to listen to. It takes work. You need to know how to write. Not only just write everything down, but write it in a way that other people can understand it. So when I went to DC for my internship here, it was, like I said, my first intro into the entertainment world. While I was here, I did, I worked at the radio station, we had a podcast, little things like that. But this was my first time, seeing what the entertainment industry is. And when I tell you it's just a green screen, it's just a green screen. That's mostly what you see. What you see is people telling stories about your favorite actors, your favorite ball players, your favorite hockey players. All of those people, you don't really know them. You know their stories. Their stories were told by someone like me, a publicist or a communications coordinator, that basically tailors their story in a way that you can understand it, in a way that feels relatable, in a way that resonates, in a way that you can learn from. You don't know LeBron personally, but you know everything about him. You don't know Leah Boston personally, but you know everything about her because she has someone, shout out to Clutch Sports, who tells her story, which is what everyone needs. Whether you're a business or an athlete, a player, even a big brand like ESPN needs someone like me to tell its stories. So that's what communication is. So while I was in DC, I got to see different facets of storytelling. Telling story for politics isn't the same as telling stories for entertainment. It's not this, you don't market it the same, you don't publicize it the same, and you don't even take in the information the same. When you're looking for information from politicians or about politics, you want facts. When you're looking for entertainment, you want opinion. So learning how to write and learning how to do those different things in a way that other people understand it is what communications is. So here at Westfield State, I got to do a lot of different things and put my hands in a lot of different pots while I was here, which I'm so grateful for. But out, when you get that real world experience, what you guys want to see in a college and what you all should be looking for in a place like anywhere you want to go is something like here, where you have the opportunity to not just be here, but be here and go somewhere else. Take those opportunities to get out the city. Springfield is small, Holyoke is even smaller. So take the time to get out and do everything. It doesn't matter what it is. Like they say, 1 degree, so many careers. In my career, I worked in entertainment, I worked in nonprofit, I worked in radio, I worked in basically business marketing. I worked for a marketing company that sold paper, which is not very interesting, but who knew there was many different kinds of paper, right? So coming back to Westfield, after I worked in Washington D.C., there were a lot of different opportunities that came from just being in the Westfield community and, like he said before, networking, knowing people, because that's where it starts, communicating, telling your story to someone else so that they can get to know you and they're like, oh, I know this person, let me look out. That's what networking is, telling your story to somebody else so that they know who you are, so if there's an opportunity that they know about, they think of you. But if you're just someone who just walks up and, hi, my name is Derek, and leaves, that's not something somebody remembers. There's 40,000 Dereks. But if you say, hi, my name is Derek, I'm from Springfield, Mass., and my dog likes to pee standing up. That's something, they're like, oh, I remember Derek, his dog pee weird. That's the story. They might not remember your name, but they remember that story. So coming back to the communications department here, after I went to Washington, D.C. and graduated, I'm gonna tell y'all the truth, okay? I actually double majored. I dropped my sociology major so that I can go to Washington, D.C. And I don't regret it at all. Getting out of your surroundings, like yes, being in college is an immersive space. It's very different from your home. But getting out to see another state, to see another country, to see anywhere else that's different from where you've been, provides you with a different perspective. It tells you how to tell a story in a different way that even they will understand. You have to open your mind and be open to learning how other people communicate and how to receive information. Communication isn't just giving it, it's receiving it as well, and receiving it in a way that you can take it and give it to someone else. Communication is a gift. Came back here after Washington, D.C., started working in development nonprofit. So basically my job was to get people to give money to this nonprofit. It was a nonprofit that worked for people with mental or physical disabilities. And my job was to publicize the company in a way that they would not only get money and donations, but they would also get what press. They would get money, but in a valuable way about press. Like their press or press hits, or anytime they're in the news or anytime they're in a newspaper, that equals PR dollars. That translate to money in the communications world. Because just because you're not handing someone money, the exposure can be just as great. Networking is not someone giving you a job, but you knowing someone that has the opportunity to get you that job can be just as great. So that was my job. And there I, through nonprofit, I met someone actually in the sports world. Her name was Shakima Winters, and she actually used to work for ESPN as a publicist, but now works for LeBron at Clutch Sports. So I met her and, networked. We started talking, and which helped me land my career at ESPN. And there, I have been everywhere and nowhere all at once. I work everywhere because, as you can, like when you see me, my backpack's on me. My bag, my laptop is with me. That's my best friend, my second hand. Me and her are cool. We basically I carry it with me all the time because I need to be able to access my job. I need to be able to access my email. That's my second lifeline. I barely need my phone, but I need my laptop. So at ESPN, we go a lot of different places because sports are everywhere. So it takes me a lot of different places. There's a lot of traveling. There's a lot of networking and getting to know people. And I find that in networking, you're going to meet so many different people throughout your life. How you find meaningful relationships is creating those stories, or understanding those stories, or getting to know those stories of the people that you think can help you, or you can help. It's not always about getting and giving. It's sometimes just about getting to know someone else's story so that you can really be able to relay it to someone else. So at ESPN, my job is miscellaneous sports, sports news, and NBA. So sports news is, you guys are probably like, what's sports news? Sports Center. Sports Center, First Take, those kind of shows that you guys see on TV are what we call sports news. They basically report stories about sports to you. So in that, we have a lot of different facets. It sounds like something so simple, but just in that is radio, television, broadcast, music, film, and podcasts. So that is the entire span of what just ESPN, the company brand, does. But that's also what they tell stories about. Because we don't own the NBA. ESPN doesn't own the NBA, but they tell stories about it. So that is the job of the media. That's what we call the entertainment industry. They're telling stories about the people you see, whether it's the talent, whether it's the brand itself, or it's the executive behind it. Those are all storytelling of those people. So also we do a lot of live events, cover places like, things like the ESPYs, Black Sports Business Symposiums, things like that, when we host like thousands of people to all come and basically listen to stories about media or listen to stories about sports, and regardless of whatever that is, these different facets all sit under one umbrella. So the entertainment industry, as I was saying before, it's so big, but it's so obtainable because it's not really, it goes everywhere. You guys see, people on TV, and you see these people on the screens, and you think, oh, I want to get there. And I know, coming from a small town, or coming from Springfield, or coming from basically anywhere that's not LA or New York, it feels so unattainable to get to those spaces where you're working for ESPN or Disney or these major networks, or even in the entertainment space, but it's not. New York is down the street. It's a drive. I drive back and forth there every day. And when I say entertainment is a green screen, it's because it's just people setting up shop. None of these people live where you see them, Real Housewives, we did Real Housewives of Atlanta. I think one of them were like, something had to do with a ball player. So we covered the game, and they just basically set up a green screen to make it seem like it was part of the show. Like, it aired as part of the show, but it was just like a green screen and people doing different scenes. That's basically what the entertainment industry is. And it looks so unattainable from the TV screen, but it's reachable through communications. That's all entertainment industry is. A series of different communication avenues, whether it's acting, whether it's singing, dancing, album sales, all of that needs to be communicated. There has to be a way for the public to find out about the information that you're giving, or the song you're singing, or any of those kind of things. So when they say 1 degree, so many careers, that's what communications is. There's no, well, there is. If you want it to be a set space for you, if you can. But you don't have to stay there. There's always many different options. There's always many different ways to go. There's always many different things to do. I mean, like I said, I started out in a nonprofit and went all around the world till I got back here. Till I got into the entertainment industry, which is where I actually found out that I wanted to be, but it's hard getting there. And it takes a lot of skills. It takes a lot of practice. It takes a lot of bombing. It takes a lot of doing it wrong. It takes a lot of no's to get there. Communication industry is such an evolving space that it moves constantly. It's always something new. When I first started, there was what? Twitter. You know what? I'm not gonna do that with y'all. I'm not gonna do that. No, I'm not gonna tell y'all what there was. Y'all know what there was. Right now, there's Snapchat, there's Instagram, there's Twitter. Those are our main media facets. Like, I know the TV screens are great, but the views we get on Snapchat, the views we get on Instagram, and the views we get on Twitter is nothing to the views we get on SportsCenter. Just because it's such an evolving industry that now you guys are probably as good at my job as I am, because you are on social media so much. You don't even realize it, but you're constantly communicating with an audience every day. Your Twitter followers, that's your audience. They following you for real. Like, they know Mark went to the store today because you told them. You told them a story in 5 seconds. Now, if you picture yourself as a singer, Mark went to the store today and he sung to the clerk. That's you selling your talent. That's you selling your ability. That's you selling your ambition. That's what communication is, giving people information in a way that makes them want to do or complete an action. So if I say, I want to go to the store today, everybody's just like, why is that my business? But if I say, I want to go to the store today to buy y'all something, y'all interested now. What we getting? It's the buy-in. It's you creating buy-in in different ways and on different platforms in order to give people the information that you're trying to give them. I just want to tell you guys one more thing, and then I will be out of your hair. Here at Westfield State, it has a lot of opportunity for you to get that practice. The radio station, the podcast lab, which there wasn't when I was here, which I'm kind of jealous about, but we'll talk about that later. The podcast lab, they have many opportunities for you to do, like I said, and get out of your comfort zone. I spent 3.5 years on this campus as an RA. When this building first opened up, I was an RA here, and right next door is the Career Center, where they have lots of opportunity for internships. Look for internships. That is one of the most important things you can do. What would have helped me from jumping around faster is finding out my niche in the first place. But I was too busy just jumping from place to place to place. If I would have sat down and actually took the internship somewhere, it would have gave me the ability to figure out, what I wanted to do a little bit earlier. And also, experience and money. Get both of those. The experience can be just as valuable or more valuable than the money if you immerse yourself in the experience of being an intern. If you take that job seriously, if you go in with the attitude of knowing all there is to know, you're gonna come out with something, whether it's a job or it's a skill that you can bring to another job. That is your leverage. Those internships, getting that experience while you're in college, while you're not paying for it directly, is the key. Because once you get out of here, it's going to cost you. That experience is going to cost you a whole lot more. So make sure that when you're picking a college, pick a place that you can get the experience, not only just in the classroom, because books are great, lessons are great. You need something that you can hold with you in your mind, something that feels like what they're saying or what they're teaching you. And that, along with the experience, the lessons along with the experience is what it will make your communications experience a lot better, because it'll not only tell you how to tell a story, but how to receive a story. That's part of your story. Whatever your internship is, or whatever the work you do is, that's part of your story. The internship that I took in DC working for that production company, that's part of my story. And it also taught me how to tell other people's stories. Working for that production company, I didn't know much about it, but I knew BET, and it taught me, okay, how can I tell this story in a way that I'm not there, but other people will want to be there. Other people will want to see this show, or other people will want to, talk to this person on the radio. You have to be able to tell somebody something in a way that is going to convince them that that's what they want. That's what communication is. Understanding. It's getting an understanding of other people and you being able to give that to other people to understand. Does that make sense? Probably not, but that's it.